Derby.
The turn, the leader, War Admiral 2.5 for 3.
Churchill is in the center of the racetrack. The Admiral Sloop drawing alongside again.
War Emblem is still there. War Emblem is pulling away. He's got another gear. Down the stretch like Kevin the Derby. Wheel away takes command. Lionheart is all heart. Smarty Jones is all out. And here is the first undefeated winner of the Kentucky Derby since Seattle's low of 1970.
Getting closer. The Kentucky Oaks draw is tomorrow, Monday. The Kentucky Derby draw is on Tuesday. The anticipation build. The sun is rising. The fog is lifting under the Twin Spires of Churchill Downs. It's time for the Kentucky Derby Morning Workout Show. Presented by TwinSpires.com. Main track is fast. A little bit on the cloudy side. Like I mentioned, the fog is lifting. Temperature in the upper 40s, but on the rise. A very pleasant Sunday morning here in Louisville. Let's take a look at the headlines, and we'll start with Essential Quality, the undefeated champion, also the stablemate Mandaloun, bluegrass runner-up, highly motivated. They led a strong contingent of Kentucky Derby and Oaks workers on Saturday morning at Churchill Downs. We'll take a look back at those works. Santa Anita Derby winner Rock Your World and Louisiana Derby winner Hot Rod Charlie logged their final Kentucky Derby breezes at Santa Anita on Saturday. Both horses are scheduled to arrive today. Get Her Number was declared out of Kentucky Derby 147, allowing Kentucky Jockey Club winner Keep Me in Mind to draw into the field. In addition, Brooklyn Strong was added to the also eligible list of potential starters. We've had some Derby and Oaks horses already on the racetrack here this morning, and here is a live shot of Sainthood, one of four for trainer Todd Pletcher, most recently the runner-up in the Jeff Ruby Stakes at Turfway Park, coming into this race in excellent fashion. Joe Christopher, I got Joe Rosa joining you here, Ed, and it feels like we never left. Quick turnaround from a very successful opening night yesterday. Fantastic to see fans back at the racetrack. It was like old times again here under the Twin Spires, and great to see fans at dawn at the Downs this morning as well.
No doubt about it. If I had a cot in the Gold Room, maybe I wouldn't have left, but you need sleep. But there's no place I'd rather be, whether it's for live racing or these workouts, and such a thrill to welcome back people to dawn at the Downs, as well as wherever you're watching throughout the world.
Yeah, hopefully they can save us some scraps up on the fourth floor at 8 o'clock in the morning when the show is over. Definitely going to make an attempt to get some breakfast.
Absolutely.
Brandon Staubel on the fourth floor, no place that he would rather be. And Brandon, lots of action the last couple of days and kind of putting everything together recently.
Yeah, good morning, guys. I was a little worried when I left my house this morning. We had a heavy fog in the air, but that's cleared out. Crisp, cool air up here. The horses are going to love it when they come out on track. And like you said, we've got fans here. And I'm sorry, guys, I already made a plate for myself, and there's not much left up here. So, but maybe I'll save a little something for you. We're just excited to be here. We want to see how these horses came out of their works. That's really important as well. Even though the final preparations are finished, they still need to come back and gallop. They still need to do well into the race. So that's something we're going to keep an eye on.
Yeah, most definitely. And we'd like to keep an eye on some social media questions. People watching the show from all over the country, all over the world, Ed, and we want you to participate with your questions, comments, your opinions as well via Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I certainly want to get to as many of those as possible during the course of this show. Let's take a look at the top 20 Kentucky Derby points leaders. Brad Cox at number 1 and number 10, sandwiching 8 others at, and a very good list that it is. Not a lot of major changes to the main body of the potential field.
No, and looking at this list, it does strike me that other than Concert Tour, who never was among the 100-point winners anyway, lost the Arkansas Derby, we really haven't had a lot of changes among the major prep winners. So the top half certainly is held together well.
Mentioned that Hot Rod Charlie and Rock Your World arriving from California today. There you see King Fury, Keep Me in Mind, now 19 and 20. And a lot of times you're like, kind of just blah when it comes to horses that draw in off the AE list into the main body of the field. But these two belong. They both run very well at Churchill. Keep me in mind when the Kentucky Jockey Club here.
I'm thrilled he drew in. You know, I know a lot of people say he's a deep closer, and so they'll use him underneath as I'm going to do. But the bottom line, Joe, as we've seen, you get that 40, 50 to 1 horse in there, you're going to do okay. And I think he has a shot to pick up some pieces.
The draw is on Tuesday, and Brooklyn Strong and Starring in My Dreams will draw into the race, even if they're still in this position as also eligibles in case there is a scratch leading up to the Kentucky Derby. Essential Quality, no question about him as the Kentucky Derby favorite. At least that's what everybody's thinking. Maybe in the 3-1, maybe even 7-2 range for Brad Cox. He's never lost. He's earned $2.2 million and he's won his races in different ways. Kind of a grinding style, which should suit the 1 1/4 very well.
Thing that strikes me is the 5 for 5. He's never gotten beaten, but Tappet looking for his first Derby winner. Godolphin the same. Brad Cox in his first Derby. If Essential Quality goes 6 for 6, it'd be a pretty big W for the others.
Brandon, he may not have gotten beaten on race day, but yesterday he got beat by his workmate, Spa City. Take us through this and the significance of it.
Yeah, one thing that's great about doing this show is we get to know the horses. These horses are individuals, just like people. They all have different personalities, different running styles, different assets. Essential Quality is not a flashy workhorse. He's just kind of a grind it out, do what he needs to do, and then. But he does show up in the mornings. Obviously, he's undefeated, 4 for 4. You can see he's going to start right off of the hip of the maiden here, Spa City, and I think it's been a pretty well advertised that Spa City is an extremely good workhorse. You can see he's always kind of on the bridle, on the engine. He's got the rider has a handful of horse here, and Essential Quality is just relaxing right off of him. This is exactly what they want to do, just kind of give him a target, keep his focus. He comes out in the mornings, he doesn't wear his blinkers when he gallops, and puts them on for the work, he puts them on for the races, so he kind of knows when it's go time. But in the morning, you can see the rider there just give a little tap on the shoulder. The workmate's getting away from him just a little bit, but they're going to not panic here, let him change leads on cue. There he goes right there, and then he's striding out well down the lane, Joe. I think, you know, Spa City, like I said, a very good workhorse, but it's just something to keep Essential Quality's head in the game and just kind of make sure that he stays focused for the race.
Now in the gallop out here, Brandon, I want you to explain to the fans what you see and what Brad Cox's plan was for this gallop out. And I think a lot of people need to realize too, you know, these horses are sparring partners, and sometimes when you're a boxer, they put you in with another boxer that you should be able to manhandle. Sometimes they want to toughen you up a little bit. Yeah,
and you would think that if Brad put any horse with Spa City, that he'd probably go ahead and give him a pretty game effort. You can see the rider just take a hold right there, and that was the plan. You could hear Brad Cox talking after the work yesterday that they didn't want him to do a lot, basically gallop out to the 7/8 pole, which is that first pole around the turn, and then basically just shut him down. You can see he comes back to the rider nicely in there, and as far as the flesh goes, you can see that powerful hip. He's moving well behind. I mean, he looks great out there.
Essential Quality, the likely favorite for the Kentucky Derby. Brad Cox with 3 potential starters, including Mandaloun, the winner of the Risen Star with blinkers on, and a yes waving to the fans here. Lots of them in attendance. A really beautiful morning, probably one of the warmest we've had over the course of the last week. He won the Risen Star with blinkers on after losing the LeCompte as the big favorite, Ed, and then he came back in the Louisiana Derby and threw in a clunker, but he's looked like a man literally on the racetrack training up to the Derby.
Maybe he's an in-and-out pattern type of horse. If you're a fan of this one, you kind of maybe like that the Louisiana Derby was so bad. Because it's not like he ran his race and got beat. He didn't run his race at all, and he's training like maybe he can run back to that Risen Star in these mornings.
Brandon, speaking of sparring partners, Mandaloun is going to enter the ring with none other than Joe Frazier.
Very nice, Joe. Yeah, Joe Frazier is actually not in the screen right now. There was a little bit of I don't know if it was miscommunication or what it was, rider error, but the workmate started about 5 up on Mandaloun. Now, Flo, after the work, was saying that he didn't want to panic, he didn't want Mandaloun to kind of get too aggressive, so he just kind of left it there. And as we approach the quarter pole, and we'll start to see the mate a little bit, Flo's just kind of sitting chilly. This horse is striding out well. Flo's got the hands low. You can see the big red pole there, the quarter pole, and there's the workmate in front with the white helmet, and he's just going to stay relaxed on him down the lane, and in a minute, you're going to see see the rider on the workmate just kind of take a look over the shoulder, like, you know, figuring out where are we at, and Flo's just going to ease up, let Mandaloun kind of get himself into the work. There they go. And they didn't go that fast down the lane, but did it in hand, and he was striding out well. You'll see at the wire here too, Joe, Florent's going to kind of give him a little shake and ask him to gallop out here.
A little faster time there, Brandon, than Essential Quality. The gallop out time was much faster than Essential Quality, but two different kinds of horses in the mornings and two different strategies from Brad Cox as to what he wanted.
Yeah, much flashier workhorse in Mandaloun, and you can see even on the gallop out, just kind of toying with him a little bit. Same kind of concept. They didn't want to do a whole lot, and different workmate too. Spa City, an extremely good workhorse, as I mentioned. Joe Frazier just won an allowance at Keeneland, but Mandaloun there, plenty left on the gallop out. Flo just kind of reining him in, keeping the hands low, and just going to pull him up and take him wide.
After these final works, these trainers want to keep these horses in bubble wrap nearing the races on Friday and Saturday. Brad Cox has 3 contenders. Let's find out what he thought about the works from Essential Quality and then Mandaloun.
I wanted to see him finish really good. I mean, that's what he does. You know, that's maintenance work for him. It was broke off the half-mile pole, went around to the 7/8, and you know, minute and change, and you know, well within himself. Rider come back, said he didn't feel like he was out of first gear. So that's kind of him. I mean, he's pretty impressive. You know, wasn't looking to do a whole lot. I think he galloped out 14 and 2, and well within hand, cooled out good, and I think we're all set. It's more of the same. I mean, just kind of, you know, once again, you have to we're going to cross out the Louisiana Derby, hopeful that he can move forward, get back to the Risen Star form. If he does, he's going to be effective in the Kentucky Derby. Like you said, he's very flashy, he catches your eye, he's a great mover, good workhorse. You know, we just got to have him show up and run the way we know he's capable of, and not throw a clunker like he did last time in the Louisiana Derby. And we're going to school them both next week several times. You know, two at least. Hopefully that's enough. And they'll be able to adjust and take everything in Derby day. I mean, you know, as much as schooling as you want to do, there's nothing like the Derby and the crowd, and obviously the walk through the tunnel can get a little noisy, but you know, we're hopeful that they'll both handle it, and we'll see how it goes.
One of the great treats of coming here early in the week, Kentucky Derby week, is seeing some of these horses school in the paddock, man. If you're here Tuesday, Wednesday, even Thursday, you're going to see a lot of these horses in the paddock. You get an up-close and personal look. Yeah,
in Oaks Day, the Derby horses are there, and some of the other stable stars, so absolutely an important part of their preparation, and an extra special part about being here live.
Fans here at Churchill Downs watching themselves on the big board, highly motivated, second to Essential Quality, passing that 9-furlong test in the bluegrass. Last time out into Mischief, the Stallion sired last year's winner, Authentic, to a Kentucky Derby victory. Chad Brown looking for his first Kentucky Derby win. Doesn't have a graded stakes win on the resume yet, Ed.
No, he doesn't. Chad has had this path paved out, though. The Gotham, 1-turn mile, the Bluegrass, a mile and an eighth, and now here in the Derby with what would absolutely be signature win, not only for Highly Motivated, but also his trainer.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and highly motivated coming into the race in very, very good fashion. The sparring partner in this work, Brandon, was Southern District, and a little bit of a difference here. This is a horse that highly motivated should dominate in the work.
Exactly, and you'll see here he'll start a little bit off the hip. Now they went from the 5/8 pole, so they're going 5 furlongs, starting on the backside. They'll finish up obviously at the finish line, and then Chad wanted a nice gallop out. They went a little slow early, I thought, 13 for the first opening eighth, and the riders are wearing radios. A lot of the trainers nowadays use radios to talk to the riders. Chad Brown's in the grandstand. He's timing these workouts, and he's telling them, look, you're going too slow. You got to pick it up. You can see the rider really asking Southern District there on the inside. They're sitting chilly on Highly Motivated on the outside. See the hands very low. He's going to change leads on cue, and under probably strict instructions from Chad Brown to not let him do much. Chad's going to let him know when to go ahead and let him out and let him gallop out, and he's easily besting the mate here, Joe.
Certainly is, and had a really good work at Keeneland as well. Brandon, do you see anything in the way this horse trains, the way this horse moves, that makes you believe that maybe he'll have distance limitations, or do you think the 1.25 miles could be a successful distance for him on Saturday?
I wouldn't say that he's going to absolutely relish it and he wants to go further than 1.25 miles, but I'll say that I think he can get it just the way he's built. He's a bigger into Mischief. He's got a little bit of stretch to him, a little bit of length. And then you can see on the gallop out, too, he does have plenty left on the gallop out. You can see the ears kind of twitching back and forth, telling him that he's just enjoying himself out there. He's having fun. He galloped out well, and then he's going to get some love from the rider on the backside. So I don't anticipate it being a problem, but he's not one that I would say, oh, yeah, this is definitely a Belmont-type horse.
His trainer has won multiple Eclipse Awards, and he's highly motivated to take down his first Kentucky Derby.
I wanted to see him finish well, you know, a nice strong last quarter, but in hand, and gallop out well and come back, you know, good. And he seems like he's killing out fine. And of course, I want to see him get over the track well. And you know, you could tell by that work that he's, you know, that the track won't get him beat. That's one thing. I think he really liked it the way he was moving on it. So yeah, I was very pleased. It went just as I wanted. He's come out of it well. This horse has had two really good works. You know, last one at Keeneland, of course, and he, you know, he's held his weight good, as you can see when he trains every day. He's a big, strong horse, but carries a lot of condition, and he seems very happy. So he really hasn't missed a beat.
Highly motivated, a horse I know that you're very, very, very interested in, Ed. After the draw, obviously, we'll release our final selections, but could be on top of your trifectas, exactas, etc.
If not, I mean, certainly on top on some and featuring prominently in all positions. I think he's the value of the race at 8 or 10 to 1.
Take a look at a horse that recently drew into the Kentucky Derby field. That is King Fury, and he checks a lot of boxes, and purchased for just shy of $1 million. You don't see Kenny McPeek with this kind in his barn very often, by Curlin, who's represented top and bottom in the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks out of the multiple graded stakes winning Taurus. And this horse does have a win at Churchill Downs in the street sense. I'm very, very intrigued by this horse, King Fury.
And being by Curlin, a horse Ken McPeek picked out for a little bit better price than nearly $1 million. So Kenny knows the family. He knows this type of breeding, and it might work out. Just the one race is a 3-year-old, but people have liked what they've seen.
I liked what I saw yesterday when I was watching this show as a fan, because I listened to what Brandon Staubel had to say. And Brandon, this horse just glides over the track.
Yeah, he's got a really nice way of going. Brian Hernandez up in the saddle, and they went 5/8 in here with a nice little gallop out. I was really impressed the last couple of weeks being here in the mornings to see King Fury gallop. Seems to have come out of the race extremely well, and I thought he would come out and breeze well, and he did exactly that. One thing you like to watch too on the turn and early in the work, Brian's hands. Brian does such a great job of just getting horses to relax. You can see he's just kind of got a light hold. He's checking the watch a little bit, and you can see the ears on the horse too. I mean, they are just flicking back and forth. That horse is just loving what he's doing out there. He's gliding over the surface, ears pricked right there at the quarter pole. See that big red pole there? Brian checking the watch again. Okay, now he's saying it's time to go a little bit. He gives him just a little bit of a shake. Now he's staying closer to the rail, so he's going to get a little bit of a quicker time. But the way this horse is just extending his stride down the lane, Joe, is just super impressed yesterday, and I'm sure Brian was smiling after the work.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's got a little bit of catching up to do, Brandon, with just one race as the 3-year-old. But Kenny McPeek said it was by, design, after throwing in, a decent effort after battling the pace in the Kentucky Jockey Club. We'll see moving forward if he's ready in the Kentucky Derby to make an impact. But this is a horse I'm not only intrigued with coming up on Saturday, but also the rest of the year.
Yeah, and you have to love the finish this horse showed too. The last quarter was big, and then the gallop out, you see Brian never really asked him at all on the gallop out. I mean, he did all that on his own. Brian just kind of checking the watch there at the 7/8 pole, and 112 and change on the gallop out. I mean, that was a serious work, and I think this horse needs to be considered as a top selection.
Kenny McPeek calling Tyson Fury out on Twitter. He's never at a loss for words.
Pretty basic stuff. He just ran a couple of weeks ago. We really didn't need anything other than a good 12s work. He worked by himself, no company. He's plenty fit. I think he's going to relish a 1.25 miles. We're thrilled he got in. And rest is up to next week. Hopefully everything goes smooth, which I anticipate it will, and it's exciting.
All right, thanks to Kenny McPeek and all the trainers for giving us a lot of their time over the course of a very busy couple weeks here at Twin Spires. Let's take on the Twin Spires morning workout show. Take a look at Super Stock, one of two for trainer Steve Asmussen, a family affair here, Ed, with a horse that looked really good winning the Arkansas Derby.
One of the stats we keep bringing up is how many times the horses who won their final prep went on to win the Derby in the points era, and this is one of those that's getting overlooked. I think Bourbonic will be a longer price, certainly a more known name because of it, but Super Stock I think is going to be an overlay. He looked good in the Arkansas Derby. Yeah,
Brandon, not one of the blue bloods in the field. I believe a $70,000 purchase price, a family affair for the Asmussens, and Steve obviously beaming not only because of the circumstances with this horse, but the way he's been training as well.
Yeah, sire dialed in right now, extremely hot sire. Max Player here on the inside, who actually ran in the Kentucky Derby last year. You can see, we talked about this on the show with Rosie, and I've mentioned this several times the past couple of years. Steve Asmussen very big on making sure that they hit all their marks at each 8th pole. So you can see the rider on the inside constantly checking the watch. You can see the guy on the outside. He's going to check his watch at the quarter pole. They're all keeping track of, you don't want to go back to the barn and get that stare from any trainer, particularly Steve Asmussen, because he has these works planned, very methodical with how they're organized. Rosie talked about he wants to see these horses moving very smoothly. Both riders checking the watches here. Just an easy move, something to keep the horse kind of entertained to the wire, not to lose focus, and then they'll gallop out a little bit. Just a pretty even work, Joe.
Super stock there in company, 101 1/5 for his final work leading up to the Kentucky Derby. A couple of Steve Asmussen Oaks horses scheduled to work here this morning. Lots of questions coming in on social media. We're going to start with one from Justin Dew, otherwise known as Lone Speed, on Twitter. He wants to know about Highly Motivated. He switched to his wrong lead and was getting out a little bit in the stretch of the bluegrass. In your opinion, is that a sign of distance limitation? Ed, we'll start with you here.
I would say second start, first around 2 turns. There's some reasons to think he might get a little tired, and people see that and say, oh, well, now he can't handle a mile and a quarter. Well, look, it was a prep race. It was the second start of his form cycle. He had been off quite a bit between the Nyquist and Gotham. I'm willing to forgive it, especially at the price.
Yeah, I think it's maybe a sign of distance limitation because he really dug in gamely in the stretch against Essential Quality, then kind of gave way, then did look a little bit tired in the lane. But again, he's coming into the race great. I think he's eventually going to be a little bit better horse around 1 turn, but that remains to be seen. Okay, another question here is, given how well Corey Lannery has ridden at Churchill Downs in the past, is it strange that he doesn't have a mount in the Derby? This one's from Michael McGuire. Wouldn't it be a steal at this point to have him on your horse? Remember looking at Lee, ? And yeah, Corey knows his way around Churchill Downs.
I'm surprised, Caddo River doesn't have an assignment yet. Sainthood, I'm not sure what will keep me in mind as David Cohen. I would absolutely, he'd be first on my list of those who are left in the room.
Yeah, for sure. And Corey went to Florida this year instead of going to Fairgrounds, and obviously limited Kentucky Derby contenders coming out of Florida this year, which is different than in years past. So it could be just circumstantial as far as Corey Lannery goes. You see the track being manicured before that 7:30 Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Oaks workout time. We'll be back with a lot more here, including some information on the Oaks horses right after this.
The 147th Kentucky Derby is almost here, and Twin Spires players can take advantage of our Kentucky Derby money-back offer all week long. Place a win bet on any Churchill Downs race during Derby week, including Saturday's Run for the Roses, and if your horse finishes second or third, you'll get your money back. Plus, if you are looking for help to find a winner or two, check out our expert picks available on the app for every race. Twin Spires, bet dedicated.
One moment, you're up in the sky, and the next, you're in a free fall, 10,000 feet above the ocean. You have 30 seconds between you and the water's surface, and it's these 30 seconds that define who you are. Because how we face the fall is what separates the pioneer spirit from the rest. This is your legacy.
Welcome back to the Kentucky Derby morning workout show. Expected activity today from some of the Oaks contenders as far as workouts go, timed workouts for the Oaks coming up on Friday. As you can see, temperature is fast. The temperature is 50 degrees. The track is fast. And we've got some horses coming in from Southern California arriving today that a lot of people are going to be looking forward to seeing tomorrow on the racetrack for the first time, including Rock Your World. And this is a horse that has a lot of people very intrigued. Kind of recently seen on the radar with that victory in the Santa Anita Derby in gate-to-wire fashion. A turf horse early in his career, drawing some comparisons to the legendary Barbara.
Yeah, and understandable why. Undefeated, switched to dirt for the final prep, got the job done. I thought I don't want to say easy fashion. It's not easy to win Grade 1 races, but completely put away the competition. He's coming in here live, and he gets Joel Rosario.
He worked with Best Chance yesterday, 5 furlongs and 59-1 at Santa Anita. Brandon, take us through it.
Yeah, Best Chance last seen finishing 4th in a allowance turf sprint. So, it's maybe a decent workmate, something that, has a little speed. It can kind of keep Rock Your World into it. And they did go quick there, 59-1. And typical of what we've seen a lot of these works, the Derby horse is going to be on the outside, and they're just going to kind of sit there and kind of show a little speed, not really do a lot early, but then really want to finish up once they start getting around the quarter pole here. You can see Rock Your World already starting to kind of grab the bit and want to take off here. But he's very relaxed. That's what you like to see, especially for a horse that, maybe he doesn't get the lead, maybe he does, but if he doesn't get the lead, he can at least not get aggressive or rank and kind of throw his head up. He's going to relax a little bit, and then you can see the rider just kind of nudge on him a little bit. He changes leads there. And then I thought down the lane, he was super impressive. Actually, Joe, I ran into Gary Young on the way in, and he loved this work. He said he thought it was great, and I would agree here. Just very powerful, especially as they hit the wire here. Very strong gallop out.
Yeah, very impressive. He's got, high knee action, Brandon, which is, pretty much what you look for in a turf horse, but man, he moves over this dirt well.
Yeah, he really gets through it very well, and you see, too, I love when they come down the lane, they pass the finish line. You can see the power that's behind there. You can see how fit he looks. The distance isn't going to be an issue. He's going to be plenty fit here, and nice little gallop out.
From one Californian to another, Hot Rod Charlie, the runner-up to Essential Quality in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and he won the Louisiana Derby gate to wire. He has some versatility. He's a tough little son of a gun, Ed.
It's interesting, Joe. The California horses have taken some lumps maybe in terms of where they fit on the Derby picture, but the Breeders' Cup Juvenile runner-up shipped east to run in the Louisiana Derby, and he got the job done on the front end, and to me that makes the contingent dangerous.
Doug O'Neill with 2 Kentucky Derby wins prior to the first race yesterday at Santa Anita, all by himself on the racetrack with the exception of Chasing Fame, his sparring partner here, Hot Rod Charlie, Brandon under Flavian Pratt.
Yeah, the mate here on the inside, just a maiden winner. And, it's funny, all these California drills are basically carbon copies of each other. You've got either 5 furlongs, 6 furlongs, and they just sit off. Now, Hot Rod Charlie just a little bit further off. It's nice to see these works, especially a horse like Hot Rod Charlie, who won on the lead last time, but to see this work and know that you feel like he can relax a little bit and has no problem sitting if he needs to, maybe 3rd, 4th, or 5th, or even closer. You can see they're just kind of sitting chilly here. The mate kind of being nudged on a little bit, and they're going to finally range up here as they approach the far turn. And Joe, as we get to the quarter pole here, you're going to see the rider still sitting chilly, but when asked down the lane, he does respond well, and I thought this was just an easy work.
Yeah, Hot Rod Charlie arranging up on the outside here, and I think his versatility is going to play well, Ed, for Hot Rod Charlie, in that he made the lead in Louisiana Derby. He went fast, and they were never getting by him. Midnight Bourbon stretched fully down the lane there, but he did close in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile to be second behind Essential Quality when he had a fast pace in front of him.
He's part of the reason I like Bezos is because that was the only one that closed into Hot Rod Charlie. And similar to Essential Quality, Joe, and they both come out of that Breeders' Cup Juvenile, they've made their own trips when they've needed to. We saw Essential Quality a lot closer to the pace in his final prep. Hot Rod Charlie won gate to wire. It's part of what makes this Derby so compelling. We're not really sure where these horses are going to be in the first turn.
20 horses in the Kentucky Derby starting gate, a 20-horse starting gate utilized for that. We saw that last night on opening night. 14 horses in the Kentucky Oaks, 15 on the list right now. The rivalry travel column, Clairiere, well documented. Malafat, the likely favorite as we flip the page here, Ed. This is a very, very good, solid, deep, talented field. Going into the starting gate for the Oaks.
No question about it. And there's one in particular that I'm really high on and hoping she separates herself from the pack. But looking at whether it's the Brisnet speed rating, the Ragazins, etc., this is extremely competitive. Very few would shock me.
Just from listening to Brandon as much as I have over the course of the last few days, this is a filly that he's very high on, at least training in the mornings, Brandon. Crazy beautiful.
Yeah, I love the way she's coming into the race. She caught my eye in some gallops and then a couple of works she had here. And I thought this one yesterday yesterday was just as good. The time's not going to look flashy. I know everybody's going to say, oh, 49-1, she didn't really do much, but just look at the way she's doing it, the way she's traveling. You can see the ears just pricked there, flopping back and forth. You know, do you want me to take off? She's just having fun out there. She's gliding over the surface, and Ryder had his hands full down the lane, but that was the intention there. You don't want her to do too much. Kenny McPeek talked about King Fury, the fact they wanted to maybe do a little something more. They didn't want to do as much here. They just want to take it easy, but you can see down the lane, guys, those ears just flicking back and forth. She's just having a ball.
There you see Crazy Beautiful for trainer Ken McPeek, who has finished second in the Kentucky Oaks on 3 different occasions. Again, welcome to everyone watching us via all the social media outlets as we march forward towards that Kentucky Derby Oaks designated training time. Kenny McPeek, we heard from him earlier about his Derby contender. What are his thoughts on Crazy Beautiful?
Well, she worked a bull at 59 last weekend, and she's going to be 5 weeks in between races. But that work last weekend was plenty. This week we wanted to tone it down a little bit and leave a little fuel in the tank. And I told Danny, similar 12s type work. He went a little slower than that, but only because he was keeping a good hold on her. And she's another one that's locked and loaded. Danny says she won't get beat.
Wow. Listen to Danny. You're going to get a 20-1 shot for the Kentucky Oaks as you see the horses approaching the gap and the entrance onto the racetrack. Pauline's Pearl, Clairiere, Will Secret, the scheduled Kentucky Oaks workhorses. The show continues right after this.
The 147th Kentucky Derby is almost here, and Twin Spires players can take advantage of our Kentucky Derby money-back offer all week long. Place a win bet on any Churchill Downs race during Derby week, including Saturday's Run for the Roses, and if your horse finishes second or third, you'll get your money back. Plus, if you are looking for help to find a winner or two, check out our expert picks available on the app for every race. Twin Spires, bet dedicated.
With over 200 flavor notes to discover, every sip of Woodford Reserve Bourbon is a spectacle for the senses.
Cloud computing outside. Classic Empire head to head near the line. Cloud computing wins the Preakness.
Welcome back to the Kentucky Derby Morning Workout Show presented by Twin Spires. Whether you're watching us online or live here at Churchill Downs on the apron, also Dawn at the Downs. We welcome all the people enjoying breakfast and getting a bird's eye view of the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks contenders. This is what it's all about. If you're a fan of horse racing, Ed, and you get an opportunity to be here at Churchill Downs to watch training, man, that's just exciting.
And if the wind hits a certain way, I think I can smell the bacon wafting down from the 4th floor.
Yeah.
But more importantly, seeing the horses on the track, a true treat for the senses. And we were here last year for the Derby in September, but it absolutely was not the same. This has a feel to it of spring in the bluegrass, and I couldn't be happier about it.
Yeah, good point, especially launching the meet with such a successful opening night last night, racing a Tuesday through Saturday, Kentucky Derby Day this week. Known agenda on the racetrack, 104 for trainer Todd Pletcher. Curlin has turned out to be just an unbelievable sire. He is well represented in the Kentucky Derby and in the Kentucky Oaks. One of his horses is Known Agenda, 102 points. For Known Agenda, Todd Pletcher has won the Kentucky Derby twice, most starters in the history of the race, and he's got more Kentucky Derby starters than years on his age, Ed. A surefire Hall of Famer. He was nominated this year, and it's a slam dunk.
I would think so. Certainly had my vote, and he's very well accomplished. He finally got that elusive Derby win back in 2010 with Super Saver, but being that he learned from the coach and he's been around a lot of other great trainers, we know it never gets old, and I'm sure he's hungry for a third.
If you asked 100 people who's the best rider in the country, 100 hardcore racing fans, what percentage would say Irad? Ortiz?
60.
Okay, I would think probably a little bit higher
than that. I mean,
Yeah.
Joel, I think, would get his share of votes.
That's true.
And if I were one of them, I'd say Julian. So
Of course, after last night with that 4-1 winner.
At a mile and a quarter.
There you go. Yeah, right on the lead. Clairiere, Steve Asmussen, scheduled to work today, as is his other one for the Oaks, Pauline's Pearl. And Brandon Clairiere is a horse that I absolutely love for the Kentucky Oaks. And you know what? She's probably going to be a square price, 5 or 6 to 1 at least, because it's such a deep and talented field. But she just checks all the boxes for me. She's had to close into some slow paces in her races. I really think the long stretch of the 1 1/8 trip here at Churchill Downs is going to suit her well for a trainer that's already won 2 Oaks.
Yeah, and whether it's a colt or a filly, this is what you want your horse to look like when they walk out onto the track. I mean, those ears are pricked, and she's got some definitely some swagger to her, just kind of reaching out, and especially with the way she walks behind. I mean, that's just a classy looking filly.
Yeah, and Ed, Rosie Napravnik on the show the last couple of days compared her to Untappable, the winner of the Oaks, that she was aboard for Steve Asmussen. When I hear that from Rosie, that increases my confidence level even further.
As it should. Untappable, not only a Kentucky Oaks winner, but also went on to win the Breeders' Cup Distaff, which is spectacular. And I don't want to steal your thunder. I know you're going to get into it a little more, but the pedigrees in this Oaks, I mean, we're going to be talking about $1 million babies for years out of this race.
It's just absolutely unbelievable for sure. Back to Known Agenda, Brandon, and again, just keeping these horses happy and healthy with just a handful of days left until the race.
Yeah, similar to Essential Quality, no blinkers, so he wears them in the afternoons. They're not on for this gallop, just something to keep him relaxed. And this is what we want to see. We want to see this video of how the horses come out of their works, how are they doing with their gallops leading up into the race. And so far, so good. He looks fine out there. The ears are pricked, but we just want to check out the energy level, the way they're moving, and we want to see this same kind of effort basically stay where it's at, maybe even get a little better leading up to the race. We don't want to see a lack of energy leading up to the biggest day of these horses' careers.
2018 marked the 6th time that Todd Pletcher has started at least 4 horses in a single Kentucky Derby, and Ed, in 2013 he started 5.
I remember when there's the wailing and gnashing of teeth over how he hadn't won a Derby, and the thought in my mind was, well, you can only win it once, and if you have 4 or 5 horses in the race and you go 0 for 4, 0 for 5, or even if you go 1 for 5, that really isn't that great of a stack compared to how we usually win. So it was a little unfair for him, I thought. He knows how to get horses ready for the Derby, and this year especially amazing because 5-6 weeks ago it looked like he might have 0.
We talked about the pedigrees. Here's another really good one. Pauline's Pearl by Tappet. 6 full out of the dam, half to grade 3 sprint winner. Union Jackson was a talented runner. The dam a grade 1 winner at age 2, had a promising career cut short. But the dam is a half to Kentucky Derby winner, Always Dreaming, and also Kentucky Oaks participant, a Positive Spirit, who dumped the rider at the start of the race.
This is one of many great pedigrees in the Oaks, and I think this is an interesting filly because Steve Asmussen had the Fantasy Arkansas Derby double, and that's sort of flown under the radar, I think, a little bit. Super Stock being the Arkansas Derby winner, and I think she's going to be an overlay. I think people are sleeping on her a little bit.
Brandon, we saw Pauline's Pearl come out on the track. We see Clairiere again out there on the racetrack, both scheduled to work today, and they're just so relaxed and just exuding so much class. Is it 100% a product of the horse, or is it a product of the trainer as well?
Well, it's a little both, but I'd say it's more the horse. And then once the horse gets into the program, then the trainer's job is to bring that out into them. But it's mostly the horse. You can see those ears just pricked there. She just gives you the confidence that she's going to run her race, and just getting a nice little walk out to down by the quarter pole. It looks like Pauline's Pearl is going to be the first one to breeze down here, guys.
And Steve Asmussen, there you see him here on the pony. Obviously no stranger to taking his horses out onto the racetrack, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to lead them out, especially these bigger horses. When he had Gunrunner for the Derby and even some of his other Derby horses, I mean, he's going to take care of them. You can see Scott Blasi here taking Pauline's Pearl out, who we're going to watch approaching the first turn here. Just very nice and relaxed, and that's just the MO of the program. And whether it's younger horses, older horses, they're going to get them out here, get them comfortable, make sure that they warm up a little bit, and make sure that on race day they can bring their best.
Brandon, we saw a lot of these Oaks workers on Friday, a week out. We saw some more yesterday, Saturday. Saturday. You see Dallas Stewart working here on Sunday with his Oaks contender, Will Secret, with a scheduled breeze, and then Steve Asmussen with his Oaks pair. What about the difference in strategies with these trainers and when they work?
Yeah, it's just according to their philosophy. I mean, this is normal for Steve Asmussen to have this work, 6 days out, 5 days out. This is just going to be what I would think be an easy half mile. I'm going to just take a guess here, guys. I'm going to say Pauline's Pearl is going to go in about 49.4, and I'm going to say Clairiere is probably going to go in about 49 flat.
All right, well, here's Pauline's Pearl.
I'll take the over.
We're taking the over.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take the push. I'm going to say that Brandon's going to be right on.
Brandon has the watch, though, so he's
Yeah, we'll give you some play-by-play here.
Okay. Go for it.
Okay, yeah, here. So she's on the backside. All they're doing here, look, they're just trying to get something easy to stretch the legs. This is just the MO of the barn. We talked about certain trainers have different styles. Steve's style typically is, especially after a race or right before going into a big race, that he's just going to work an easy half mile. Pauline's Pearl is approaching the half-mile pole. You're going to see the big red pole. And he's going to be down on the pony, too, and Scott as well, timing these works and making sure that they hit their marks. You're going to see, we talked about it earlier with the 5 furlong work from Superstock. The rider, there he goes, checking the watch. He's going to be checking the watch at every pole. They don't want to go too fast here. This is just strictly just stretching the legs. I got the opening 8th and 12 and 3. And that's just what I expect, a bunch of 12 and change. And just a nice, easy hold. He's checking the watch again there, making sure he's not going too fast. Now, one thing that's great about checking the watch, so if he does go too slow, he can pick it up if he needs to. So just about 25 there, and good lead change. So right here, you're just looking for the horse to do all the right things down the lane. Keep a straight path, stride out well. You can see the ears are pricked up. He's going to check the watch again right there. And coming down the lane, she looks good. She looks like she's doing it well within herself. And she'll stride out to the wire here. You just want to make sure right now everything's going well. He's got her in hand and kind of easing up on her at the wire. I got 50, guys.
I cash.
Yeah, fifth higher than his prediction of 49. And for Steve Asmussen, it was a better year for him than most in 2020 when he became Churchill Downs' all-time leading trainer in June. Earlier in the year, he won his 1,000th career stake race, only the third trainer in the history of the sport to do that. And later on this year, he's going to become the all-time leading trainer by wins in the sport. Absolutely amazing career. Let's see who we got here. It looks like Clairiere. Yeah, Brandon?
We got Will Secret. Oh, no, yeah, that is Clairiere. Excuse me.
Yeah, there's Steve Asmussen there. That's Clairiere, who's about ready to get set for her work.
Yeah, there we go. Will Secret down here in front of us. Same thing here, guys. The reason I thought Clairiere might go a little faster, I think from her training, she's been very forward. I think she's maybe got a little more positional zip. So same kind of drill here, carbon copy. You're going to see she's taken, I'll tell you what, she is taking a little bit of a bigger run up to the pole than Pauline's Pearl did, but she just has a beautiful way of going. They'll hit the half-mile pole right there, and you see that red pole. And then so same kind of deal. You're going to see the rider checking the watch constantly. There's not going to be any urging, at least there shouldn't be. And you see those ears just kind of flopping down there. He's going to check the watch again. There he goes. And she's grabbing the bit a little bit. Yeah. She's feeling good, but like I said, I think she's got a little more positional speed. He's going to really try to slow her down here. Like I said, you don't want to get back to the barn and have the trainer kind of give you that look. So I got 24, so she's about a full second faster at the quarter pole, and he's just got a nice hold. And what you want to see is these horses not throwing their heads up. You want to see their ears flopping like hers are and just kind of coming back to the rider. He can grab her and get her to settle, but she's definitely feeling good out here. Love the way she's striding out. She's just gliding over the surface, guys. She looks good. We'll see her hit the wire here, stretching out well. Ears are pricked at the wire, and 49 and 2. So just an easy move there. I thought both of those horses just went very well, but that's what they wanted.
And Brandon, she's got a late closing kick, but like you said, she does have a little bit of positional speed if the rider wants to use it as well. And, Clairiere has experience here at Churchill Downs. She seems to be coming into the race in fine fashion. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, just a fantastic addition to the Oaks. And Steve had to be happy with what he saw from both of these.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's going to go back and say it's exactly what we wanted. We weren't trying to do too much, and that's right. And you just like to see those fillies just be happy. I mean, you can see down the lane, even on her gallop out here, you can just see she just looks like she's just having fun out there. The ears are just pricked up, almost like she doesn't want to be pulled up. You can see there, right there, she's just saying, "Look, guys, I want to do a little more." But that's what you want. He's kind of got them to the point now where going into the race, they're going to be ready to go. Just easy, stretch the legs out, and you can see her pull up here. Just a gorgeous looking filly.
Yeah, I got a chance to do the barn tours leading up to the big races at Fairgrounds this past winter. Got a chance to visit Clairiere on several different occasions, and I absolutely fell in love with her. Not only as an individual, her races, how she trains, but just as a race horse. And getting to know these horses a little bit is a big part of it for me. And we'll see how she performs on Oaks Day. But I'm looking very, very forward to putting a few bucks on her, Ed.
Well, no doubt, for me a few years ago was Classic Empire, seeing win here at Churchill in his maiden race. Clairiere won here last year, and sometimes they catch your eye, and you just ride the wave.
Brandon, you hinted earlier at Will Secret being out on the racetrack. This is her just moments ago.
Yeah, no work or anything. It was just an easy gallop, and she seems to be moving fine. And look, Dallas Stewart knows how to win this race. He's won it before. He knows how to win big races, Breeders' Cup, whatever it is. Second in the Derby, and he's going to bring this horse up the way he thinks is best. And she's just the easy gallop out here. It's just what it looks like, guys. Just ears are just kind of pricked up and flopping back and forth. She's just kind of doing her thing, nothing flashy.
Will Secret, most recently third in the Ashland short stretched race, Ed. I think the 9 furlongs here at Churchill, longer stretch kind of race, is going to help her. I think she's got a major chance to be an impact in the stretch run.
I agree. I thought, the way the Ashland played out, just maybe not for her. And she had been coming off a few wins in a row. And the way, Dallas isn't afraid to race his horses. So they do sort of have that form cycle in and out at times. And given the configuration and the way the Ashland was run, understandable that, she was game for third. She passed horses. Oaks certainly wouldn't be a shock, but as I said before, there's plenty in that field that wouldn't shock. It's a really deep group.
Yeah, Brandon, I mean, with Will Secret, there was some talk that maybe she would be working this morning, but looking at her work tab, she just worked a couple of days ago, a half-mile published work here at Churchill Downs of 48 1/5. Tough for us to keep track of everything that's going on with who worked when, et cetera, but not surprising. I looked it up because I'm like, man, she should probably work today, but just a gallop out there for Will Secret. And now Medina Spirit, this horse was on the racetrack for the first time yesterday, Brandon. What kind of progression are you looking for between the first time they get their hooves on the racetrack, get to look around a little bit, and that second day?
Yeah, not trying to knock anything with this first gallop over the track. Just looks like a
possum,
a furry animal there on the track.
Possum.
Another gray on the track.
Man, when the sun comes up, I don't want to see
he's
a
making
possum.
his way off the track. That's funny. Nothing flashy. We just get to see this horse gallop for the first time, and you don't. Let's take Soup and Sandwich, for instance. Not the prettiest galloper, but he gets it done in the afternoon. We just want to get to know him a little bit. There you go. There's a better look there.
A lot of people say that Bob Baffert is often playing possum, so I guess it's kind of a sign that this horse came out with a potential workmate that's not an equine.
And he sort of matches Bob's hair.
I think Ed wasn't the only one smelling bacon this morning. I mean, it's... No, around the turn here, Medina Spirit just going to get into a nice, easy gallop. He jogged the other day. I just want to kind of see that he's moving well over the surface, kind of getting used to his surroundings. And like I said, this is not anything we want to knock. We just want to get to know him a little bit and see how he does leading up to the race.
Prontonico, the sire, obviously way under the radar. This horse bought for $1,000. Gary Young picked him up, our friend, colleague, and a great bloodstock agent for just $35,000. This isn't the prototypical Bob Baffert $500,000 Justify American Pharoah type Kentucky Derby horse. Workman-like horse, kind of a throwback horse, and obviously he's already overachieved any expectation coming into this race.
Maybe old school Bob Baffert prototype. Silver Charm was on the cheap, real quiet as well. The Fish, and they won the Derby for Bob back in '97, '98, respectively. So he's done it before with these types. We're used to the flashy ones recently, but when Gary Young's involved and he likes what he sees, that's certainly enough for me.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about, this guy picked out this horse or this guy picked out this horse. When these horses cost $500,000 or $1 million, when you could find, Brandon, these diamonds in the rough like that, that's what a lot of people that buy horses kind of really are proud of themselves for.
Yeah, and it's interesting to hear Gary talk on the radio at the sale. It wasn't a big sale. You know, it wasn't a Saratoga special sale or Keeneland or anything. It was, you know, OBS June, where typically it's one of the last sales, and it was just one of, I believe, 12 horses on his list. They went and took a look at him and got him for cheap, and obviously that's turned out to be a big reward for them. And just like you guys said, a throwback horse. I mean, he just seems to run the same race every time. He just sits there and he's going to show that positional speed, and he's just going to keep going. He's going to keep plugging along. Definitely even a horse I think maybe wants to go a little further.
There you see Medina Spirit and Obesos, who I'm very interested in. Brandon, Ed, we're all interested in him. Obviously rooting for the Foleys, a local family here in Louisville, and they had their first Kentucky Derby starter last year. And there he is, and he is an absolute picture of health. And Brandon, he schooled at the gate as well this morning. Again, just part of the entire process.
Yeah, he just went over to the gate. Blinkers are on there, just getting him familiar. We heard Greg talk in his interview that he was just kind of babysit him. I think that's a great term to use. I mean, you just kind of have to do just a little bit less than what you've been doing and just kind of get him to the race the right way, take him over, get him schooled in the gate in the mornings, and then even some schooling in the afternoons in the paddock with some fans here.
Yeah, we've got 3 horses with the Foleys with Brilliant Racing. Brandon got a chance to visit them the other day, and also got a chance to visit with Obesos. And this is the kind of horse that you don't want to turn your back on.
Yeah, I mean, this is a horse that I know Greg had a shot here last year. I think he's got a better shot this year. I just like the way this horse is trained. I think he's trained a little better. I think he's got a bigger kick than Major Fed had last year. And you talked about the bargain purchase prices. I mean, this one for $40,000 by Orb.
Some social media questions coming in as we take a look at these horses on the track. As you see Greg Foley babysitting Obesos, so to speak. Can you elaborate a bit on positional speed? This is from Mike on Facebook, wanting some clarification on that terminology.
Well, I heard Brandon mention it with Medina Spirit. I won't put words in his mouth, but when I use the term, just the ability to sort of be placed in the race but still have some brilliance about you. You know, you think of a deep closer, that's not brilliance. They're going to make their one run late. I don't consider that positional speed. But, you know, a horse like Highly Motivated, in my mind, who is on the lead in the Bluegrass but could track in other races, and you can get that burst when you ask for it. That's kind of what I think of. But Brandon used the term, too, so curious his take.
Okay, go ahead, Brandon.
No, I was just going to say, I think the ability to stay close and, you know, talk about pace all the time. Obviously, we know in this race we're going to have Caddo River, we're going to have Soup and Sandwich possibly showing some speed, but that positional speed to be able to utilize it, stay close to the pace. If the pace is slow, you can kind of go on with it, or you can relax.
I'll take the question from Sherry on the last gray horse to be favored. The last gray horse to be favored was Holy Bull back in 1994. The last winning gray that was favored was Spectacular Bid in 1979. And I think it's a good question because we got a lot of grays Friday and Saturday, Joe.
Yeah, no doubt. Led by, of course, the Kentucky Derby favorite. Hello there, Essential Quality. As we keep getting these social media questions in, we'll tell you that the times that are being reported, 50 3/5 for Pauline's Pearl for a half mile. Clairiere 103 2/5, 103.40 for Clairiere for 5 furlongs. Obviously, you know, she worked 4 furlongs, galloped out there, and looked pretty good doing it. Both of them did. There's competitive speed. This horse coming in for the Kentucky Oaks, Ed. A little bit of an outsider, I would say, but certainly a horse that appears to be headed in the right direction.
Improving, which you definitely want anytime you're coming into races like this. Of the 14 we've talked about in the field, this is the one where the speed numbers do seem to be a touch slower than some of the top contenders. And in such a deep Oaks, you know, normally maybe you look at a long shot improving, but it just seems like, man, one of these 8 or 9 legitimate contenders have to run their race. And if they do, competitive speed would really have to improve.
Thorograph with special Derby and Oaks offering as far as their numbers go, which I like to utilize in addition to the Bristnet speed figures. Competitive speed went from a 13 to a 9 to a 6, so certainly has a forward pattern, Ed.
And similar to, I know you and I both look at Thorough Manager as well, and has improved in each of the 3 races as I'm looking at it now, and has been bombs in those, and is probably going to be the longest shot on the Oaks board. But I don't blame him for coming here given that pattern for sure. She's improving.
Some more questions here. Alex from Facebook. Do the horses being added to the Derby field, King Fury, Keep Me in Mind, most recently, actually have a chance in the Derby? And Ed, will go to you for this one. I have my answer.
For me, I would say the win end on both would be a surprise to me. King Fury, because of just the one race as a 3-year-old at a mile and a 16th, and Keep Me in Mind just hasn't seemed to be fast enough on the win end to get there. But both are definitely going to feature prominently underneath.
Yeah, Keep Me in Mind won here, the Kentucky Jockey Club. I mean, people compare that to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile as one of the top 2-year-old stake races of the year. 2 turns right here at Churchill. Now, he's been disappointing. Obviously had some scheduling issues with some of the races at Oaklawn, right? So he's playing catch-up, but that work the other day was very impressive. I really like King Fury. I love the way he travels over the ground. I think moving forward, he's going to be a really, really nice horse. He's certainly bred to be one. Kenny McPeek certainly knows what he's doing and how to get the best out of his horses. So I would say King Fury for me over Keep Me in Mind, but both horses, as we mentioned earlier, certainly deserving of being in the Kentucky Derby field. Bourbonic, he earned his way in, Ed, with a 72-1 victory in the Wood Memorial, a former $50,000 maiden claimer.
Todd Pletcher is a protege of D. Wayne Lucas, and he definitely learned from the King that if they're running well and you have a reason to think they have a shot, you put them in there. And Todd Pletcher talked to us and said, he had that win at a mile and an eighth. He was training well. They gave the Wood a shot. Kendrick Carmouche talked about saving ground, saving horse. He unleashed him and got the job done. It was Todd Pletcher's highest-priced winner ever in his soon-to-be Hall of Fame career.
Yeah, no doubt, Todd, with 4 in the race. And, Brandon, I'm really looking forward to your top 5 workouts. I know you've got some important business to attend to over the course of the next couple of days. Wishing you and your wife, Corey, the best of luck on the arrival. But I've got a question here from Tom on Facebook. What are some good picks for the underneath horses in the Tri and the Super? Maybe some horses that have caught your eye that maybe weren't on your radar just solely based on past performances.
Yeah, I think one of Bourbonic's stablemates, Sainthood, is a horse that I'm kind of interested in underneath. Maybe a Super Bomb, or even to get the trifecta, a horse that's he's done well here. He worked well with Known Agenda. And if you go back and watch some of his races, that Fairgrounds race where he broke his maiden, he looked hopelessly beat, kind of came back on, looked a little green. And then last time at Turfway, he got into a lot of trouble. It looked like he almost kind of clipped heels or had his hind end kind of slip out, and had every right to just finish 4th in there, but he kept running and was flying to the wire. So to get second and then, with a better trip, he probably wins the race. I would say Sainthood is a horse in the Tri and Super slots that I'm going to try to get in.
Another question for you, Brandon, from Karen on YouTube. She wants a definition of what a gallop out is.
So the gallop out, depending on who the barn is and what the intention is, after the horses pass the finish line, that's considered the gallop out. So the work is technically done at the finish line. Now, some trainers will work past the finish, but at the finish line, everything that's done after that is considered the gallop out. So in a race like this, a distance race going 10 furlongs, and usually with horses, you want to see that they're showing you that they've got more in the tank. The gallop out is used to kind of take a look at that and see how much more do they have left, or we're building stamina. So you'll hear a lot of the time people say, oh, on the gallop out, it looks like he had a lot of horse, or he went 6 furlongs in 7 furlongs and 124 on the gallop out. So that's everything that's done basically at the end of the work, just to tell you how much horse is left.
Tanyan on YouTube would like to know, Ed, if there is a fast pace in the Kentucky Derby, what closers do you think have the best chance to win? And I will say this, I don't expect a fast pace in the Derby, first of all. Secondly, we've seen it recently since the point system has been put into place and there's not crazy sprint fractions being set. You need to be up close to the pace in order to win the Kentucky Derby. Not sure that can change this year, but if it does, who's your most favorite closer?
I'll say I don't expect a fast pace from a sense that, they're going 22 in the first quarter, but I do think there's maybe some opportunity for some missteps in the middle part of the race where people maybe make a move too early or hit the panic button. That could set it up for a closer too, and I think we talked about 2 of them already, Bezos and Keep Me in Mind.
Yeah, and I'll add King Fury to that. And think about Obesos, as you know, Marcelino Pedrosa, just like he did in the Louisiana Derby, he's going to take back. He's going to make one big run. If he doesn't encounter a lot of traffic, he's able to save some ground. He's going to pass a lot of horses in the stretch.
No, I have to think he's going to give his connections and backers a thrill regardless.
So there you see competitive speed, one of the contenders for this year's Kentucky Oaks. And keep those social media questions coming, everybody. We've got an opportunity to answer maybe a couple of more before the show is over here today. The Kentucky Derby Morning Work Show continues on through Thursday, and a couple of more shows to present you over the course of the next couple of mornings. The Kentucky Oaks Draw, presented by Ford. Tomorrow, 10:45 a.m. Eastern Time, to air live and recorded. KentuckyDerby.com, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all the places you have been watching us. We will, Ed DeRosa, have the post positions for the 14 horses that will make up the body of the race for the Kentucky Oaks 147.
Only thing I'll add is I wish there were an Oxford comma there after Facebook, but very much looking forward to talking to the connections of the Oaks horses. It's a lot of fun to interview them after the draw, and it's just a great event to kick off Derby week.
Yeah, and we race Tuesday, Champions Day, but prior to that, we have the Kentucky Derby draw. 10:45, 20 horses, a lot of anticipation, a lot of oohs and ahs, a lot of great interviews from you, Ed DeRosa.
Again, yeah, it's a great event, and usually Oaks is good because it's, with only 14, you don't have quite the crowd, but the 20-horse Derby gate and everyone in there waiting to hear their number called, their name called with their number. It's exciting.
I'll be hosting that along with Scott Shapiro next to me as the analyst. Ed DeRosa garnering some interviews, finding out what people think about their post positions the next couple of days with the Monday and Tuesday draw for the Oaks and the Derby. We've got another question from Ed on Facebook. I don't think you asked this question. Maybe you can answer it. Is Essential Quality too much of a favorite? Is this a deep Derby field, and is he worth going against?
I'm a price-sensitive bettor, as anyone should be, but it's the Derby. You want to pick the winner, so sometimes you're a little more relaxed. At 3-1, that's my floor. I definitely don't think he's a 5-2 horse. So, thankfully, I like Obesos. I like Keep Me in Mind. They're both going to be long shots. If Essential Quality wins and Obesos is second, I'm going to hit the race.
Some great promotions on twinspires.com always. I mean, you opt into these, and you have an opportunity to get some money back in this circumstance. Fantastic promotion all of Derby week, runs all week long. It's every race at Churchill. It's the money back offer. Place a win bet on any race, and if your horse doesn't win but runs second or third, Twin Spires will give you up to $10 back. Now, this offer is open to all Twin Spires players, whether you are a new player or an existing one. All you have to do is opt in. And Jill Gentili supplying us with some great swag, we like to call it here on the show, whether it's a polo, whether it's a jacket. My closet is absolutely full. And if you're a fan of the Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Oaks, et cetera, a great offer just by watching the show. A promo code, 10% off, Morning Works, DerbyMuseumStore.com. So much great stuff that you can find there, Ed.
And it's always great material, high quality, et cetera. But I have to say, especially this year, I love the logo. So I'm definitely all about getting some swag with that logo on it.
Yeah, I've got all the Kentucky Derby glasses since my birthday, my birth year. We won't say what year that is, but going to keep that collection going. Beautiful morning here at Churchill Downs. The fog lifted, temperature in the 50s. It looks like the forecast is fantastic.
Okay.
It looks great for Friday and Saturday, and the weather behind it looks good. So if it pushes forward, we're in good shape. But maybe a little bit of rain on Wednesday and Thursday. But Mother Nature definitely, at least from what I see right now, potentially going to do us a solid.
I kept trying to stick my computer in your face. I think we'd be remiss. Darren Rogers did finally break the news that Caddo River is out.
All right, Ed. Well, your final thought here, besides maybe that potentially breaking news, we saw some workers today. We saw some replays from yesterday as well.
And if we don't see the possum the rest of the week, we'll know it's in the burgoo. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But as for the rest of the week, I think the works have been very interesting. Brandon's insight, I'm going to miss it the rest of the week for sure. But Brandon, best of luck with your expected little one. Can't wait to meet him or her. And this week has been great so so far. Can't wait for the draws. That's the final piece of the puzzle, Joe.
Yeah, Brandon, I don't know about the timing on your part with this one, but we're going to wish you the best of luck, man. You're a fantastic contributor to the show. You're going to contribute a little bit later on in the week, hopefully, with your top 5 works. But, we love you guys. Best of luck to you and Corey with the big day tomorrow.
Appreciate it, guys. It means a lot. I was joking around with Ed and Scott yesterday that, I just wanted a derby off. I mean, so, we'll be at home and just relaxing. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. Just a big thank you to Churchill Downs. I hope we've been able to bring plenty of insight and kind of show the fans what it's like to be out here in the mornings. And if you ever get the chance to come out and watch morning workouts, even if it's not derby horses, I think it's something you need to do.
Lots of activity here at Churchill Downs with the Dawn at the Downs program. You see some people standing behind Brandon. And what's great about it, Ed, people are coming here dressed up, man. You got the women with their fascinators on and just really taking advantage of what we weren't able to take advantage of last year.
Now, you could tell what this race, this track, this experience means to the community in Louisville and really anywhere around there's a track. You're from Chicago. I'm from Cleveland. Derby Day meant something even there. So we're so glad that people are back here, and we're so glad to be able to bring it to you wherever you are.
And after the Kentucky Derby, we do race here at Churchill Downs through the end of June. Twilight Thursdays are going to be back.
Yeah.
Just a great time through the end of June. Racing continues after the Kentucky Derby on Saturday. That's going to wrap it up for the Kentucky Derby morning workout show for a Sunday. Ed and I are going to try to get some breakfast. Then we're going to try to get some sleep. We'll be rejoining you tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time. Kentucky Oaks draw tomorrow as well. Have a good day, everybody.